That makes sense. So this is very important, especially I've seen in the summertime, wallahi, a lot of brothers who used to come here, they disappeared. And some of them have stopped practicing and they're doing all sorts. And my assumption is that what got to everyone is the summertime. What got to everyone was the summer. You don't realize the way shaitan grabs you subconsciously sometimes. Sorry, indirectly he grabs you, indirectly. I'll give you an example. When you're walking up and down the streets, in this beautiful weather, which Allah has blessed us with, also has come a trial, which is the way that the girls are dressed outside. It is extremely inappropriate. I don't know if it's just generally like this every year, or if it's the fact that I'm just out of my house a bit more this year. This summer, I've just been up and down the city a lot, doing lots of things. Generally speaking, I just don't leave my house. My life is my house, my dad's house, the masjid, and that's the triangle that I move in. And anyone who knows me knows that. So I don't really know what's going on outside. Maybe you guys will know better. But this what I'm seeing is peak. It is terrible. It is terrible. Now you as a man who's praying, you're fasting, Ramadan just finished. Before that, you might have been, in good company. You might have been doing this and that. You might have been coming class. You might have gone to Umrah. Like you might have been in a good place. So you walk down the street, maybe just to go to the shop to get a cup of milk, to get a pint of milk. And what happens? Qadar Allah, there's a woman, she's dressed in a provocative way. She goes past. What do you immediately do? You lower your gaze, right? At that point, your iman is strong. You're able to do that. You lower your gaze. But now what happens? You don't realize, but that impacted your heart. It impacted your heart. You saw something haram. You saw something dark. And it had an effect on your heart. But you didn't think anything of it, because for you, you saw it as that was a victory. I saw a girl dressed inappropriately. I overcame my desires and I looked down. Next day, you go to college, or your mum sends you out somewhere, or maybe you're even coming to the masjid. You're on the train coming to the masjid. You're on the bus coming to the masjid. Another girl walks past. Lower your gaze. You look down. Again, you think it's a victory, right? But what you don't realize is that just had an effect on your heart. Something stayed. And then what happened? Same thing happened. Until eventually, your iman started to decrease and decrease. And one day you wake up, look, you still haven't got to the point where you're looking at the girl. You might still be lowering your gaze. But what happens? You start to feel lazy now. Your heart's not strong. You start thinking, you know what, going to the masjid is a bit long right now, to be honest. It's a bit long. It's hot, it's a bit long, I'm tired. I've been going to the masjid all these last few weeks and months, I've been doing this, that. Today I kind of take a break. And then what happened? In the masjid, what you were going to receive was what was going to clean the heart. What was going to clean that taint on the heart. What was going to polish it. Through the act of worship that you were going to do, through the dars that you were going to hear, through the knowledge you were going to receive. It was going to polish that stain, that mark that was left on the heart by means of you accidentally looking at what you shouldn't have looked at. But because you didn't go to the masjid, what happened? It stayed. And then as the week went on, same thing kept happening. Until eventually, out of nowhere, you started doing sins. You started becoming negligent. Maybe you didn't do sins, but the sunnah prayers that you were reading and all the sunnah fasts that you were doing, you stopped doing them. Now you're just doing the fard. And even the fard is like, you just kind of get it in time. And some of us, we even left the fard and we started falling into sins. And then from that, people, they fall into what? Fall into bid'ah and shirk and kufr. When Allah talked about the people who disbelieve in the day of judgment, وَالَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِالدِّينِ, they disbelieve in the day of judgment. Who disbelieves in the day of judgment? You think the atheist disbelieves in the day of judgment, right? You think the Hindu No. Allah said, وَمَا يُكَذِّبُ بِهِ إِلَّا كُلَّ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. And no one disbelieves in the day of judgment except that the person is a sinner. Sinner? What? How is the sin? Sinning is not kufr. Muslims can sin, right? It's not that the sinning is kufr, it's that the sinning has an effect on the heart. Until the heart becomes so dark. And then Allah said, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. A taint, a filth a covering came over their heart because of what they used to do. So that covering prevented the heart from receiving the nur of guidance. And because of it, the person actually left the fold of Islam. The reason I'm telling you this, brothers, is because, and sisters, is that when you see yourself in a summer like this, when you see yourself in a situation like this where the iman is dropping and you're just struggling to hold on and you're struggling, the best thing that you can do to polish the heart and clean the heart is to come and learn about La ilaha illallah. Or to act upon La ilaha illallah. Acting upon it means worshipping Him. You come home and you're like, "Raw, subhanAllah, I just saw something. I had to lower my gaze," right? Okay, quickly just open up some Quran and read it. Quickly do wudu, pray to raka'ah. Just polish the heart from anything that might have touched it. The same way, if you just drive a car through the streets on a windy day and it rains and all the dust comes, you're going to have to go take it to the car wash, right? It might not have got no scratches or anything on it, but you're going to have to take it. If you leave that car, it's going to become very, very filthy. So you have to keep cleaning it and polishing it. And the same you have to do with the heart. But a lot of us can't do the worship in the first place. Why? Because we don't have the knowledge of what worship is in the first place. We don't have the knowledge of La ilaha illallah in the first place. So it can't bring us to do the act of ibadah in the first place. Do you see where I'm coming from? That's why for you, my brothers and my sisters, the most important thing you can do is to keep fueling your heart with knowledge. Especially knowledge of this kalima, La ilaha illallah, because it is the foundation of this entire religion. And without it, a person cannot be guided. And any time you find your iman getting weak, come back to this La ilaha illallah. Strengthen it. Even if you might have heard a class. Some brothers are like, "You know what, I've studied this before." Akhi, that doesn't mean you don't come back to it. Those of you who listen to songs and music, which is haram, why do you say that with a song? "Oh, I've heard the song before, I'm not going to listen to it again." A song you like, you keep listening to it, right? You keep replaying it. So exactly then what the heart likes is La ilaha illallah. Even if you heard the same thing again and again and again, you keep listening to it. It will keep affecting you. It will keep benefiting. People watch the same movie again and they know exactly what's going to take place. They know exactly what's going to take place, but they don't want to do that when it comes to La ilaha illallah. Because the heart is weak. So force yourself to keep coming and let your heart sniff it. Let your heart get a taste of it. And it will yearn it and it will want it so much more.